Welcome to BookHuddle. I'm your host, Karen Reader with Read Gab. Today, our guest is author Michelle Lee. She has written two middle grades so far that we have out. The Between the Lighthouse and You and The Magic of Someday Soon. We're going to focus on specifically The Magic of Someday Soon. But of course, Michelle, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so happy to be here. I always love to talk about words and books and reading. So I'm really interested to see where we go today.
Yes. So, well, first, I want to get to know you a little bit. Besides that you're an author, tell us some things about you.
Okay, so let's see. I don't ride a bike very well,
Okay.
and I should. I'm an Aries Taurus cusp, which is not pretty good for the people around me because I'm very stubborn. Let's see. Recently this summer, I binge watched all of Ted Lasso, which made me very optimistic about the world.
Okay, good.
So love
I like
that.
optimism.
And also, I guess I would say, just thinking about my whole journey, like just through life, my life's always been intertwined with words. So I started out really, young, loved the library, loved words, and just kind of
Yes.
went along. I've had a very windy journey with writing. So
Love it.
yeah.
Love it. Okay, so to get to know you for Author Icebreaker, we're going to base it on a new book out recently by Erin and Tretta Kelly, and it's called The Second Life of Snap, which is super fun. It's about a robot. In the future, they are relying on robots, and this girl ends up with a robot unexpectedly. And the robot says to her at one point, "You're not the same today than you were yesterday." And she specifically actually is talking about a freckle on her face.
Uh-huh.
But that's kind of a theme that, we're always changing. We're not the same person. We are always changing. So how are you different
Yeah,
now? Or when was the time that something like that happened for you?
oh my goodness. I think I've changed many, many times in my life. I feel like a chameleon, but I guess if I had to think of one or two really big things, obviously becoming a mom, because
Yes.
literally yesterday
Oh
wasn't,
my
then the
goodness.
next day you are.
Right.
And now my little baby is a junior in high school. So definitely that was a big change in my personality, in the way that I worked, in the way that I wrote, in the job that I had.
Right.
But also, I think before that, my biggest thing was going to graduate school,
Oh, okay.
because I was kind of a small town girl, very introverted, and I went to grad school kind of later in life. And when I went, my world just exploded. It was like so many new ideas and perspectives and different kinds of people. And I was publishing poetry and performing in plays and doing all kinds of
So
crazy
fun.
things that I didn't think that I would ever do. And
Yes.
so for me, when I came out, I felt very energized and very ready to take on the world. So I think those two things for me really kind of stand out in like, whoa, like new life, you
Yes.
know?
Oh,
Yeah.
that is fantastic. Yes, there's
Yeah.
everything just is constantly shaping us, right? And
Oh
those
my
are
goodness,
those are
every
great
day,
things. Yes, absolutely.
every day.
Okay, your newest book, The Magic of Someday Soon. It came out this spring, is that right?
Yes, it came out in March.
March. All right.
Yes.
Wonderful. Tell us, what is The Magic of Someday Soon about, Michelle?
So when I think about it really quickly, I think of new best friendship and magical tea and cozy small town and some harrowing sinkholes. But if you get down to the characters, you have Zoe, who feels very invisible. She has an artist mom, and they've been traveling for many many years due to her job. And Zoe wants to kind of settle down. So
Right.
through little mischief, she sends her, goes on a detour to her dad's, her late father's hometown, because Zoe kind of wants to take a little break and she wants to learn about her dad. And so in the town, she meets Teddy Martin, who is a little bit of a sassy girl. And
Yes.
she's on a mission to save her family's legacy. It's a kind of a very decaying theme park based on dinosaur fossils, and
Yeah.
it's called Fossil Gardens. And so Teddy wants to save this town. So these two girls come together to sort of help each other and learn about how to become friends. Neither one really has had a best friend before.
Right.
And so I really feel like I always call it my hug book, because that's
Oh,
kind of what I wrote it for. I needed a hug, in this day and age. I needed a book that I could sit down and go, whenever I pick this up off the shelf, it reminds me of the books from my childhood, that I can go, wow, this is a safe world, and I just want to be in it. So yeah,
oh, I love that. A hug book. That is
a hug
beautiful.
book. Yeah.
Okay, so one of the quotes, similar to the magic of someday soon, Zoe asks, "What's the light of someday soon? Tell us about the light of someday soon."
So I just thought of that moment when you wish on a birthday candle, or you blow that dandelion, or just that split second before you throw that penny, or it's 11:11 on the clock. I know I
Yes,
see that quite often. And it's that split second where you take just a flash of like the possibility or the
yes,
impossible or a wish. And so that came to me, and Dee in the book is embodies that feeling for me. Like, she's always the type of person who will kind of maybe know what that wish might
yes,
be, or she might be able to make that come true. We don't know.
right.
And so I love that element. I think I'm always searching for that element. That possibility is what I was thinking about.
Love it. I love, Michelle, in your book, that it's just light fantasy, right? Just this possible
Mhm.
magic that some people could even like discount it as just
Yeah.
coincidences and things like that. But I love just having magic in the world and having just this feels magical, just almost like Christmas is magical still as an adult when you embrace magic and just different holidays. That's the way the magic in this book feels to me, is just the joy of just something light and almost not quite tangible, but just in the air. You know what I mean? That you're like, yes, I love
That's exactly what I was trying to go for. And again, I think in every one of my books, there is that feeling. I really love that feeling. I have a good friend of mine, and every time I walk into her kitchen and she's literally baking the sourdough bread, she has that feel. Like, she gives me that feeling, and almost like, you just want those people in your life. You want that place, even if you
Yes,
don't have that. You want to have that cozy corner. You want to have that flash of optimism
yes.
in this world that can sometimes be heavy. And I read a lot, across genres, and it's kind of why I went into middle grade in the first place,
Mhm.
is because adult fiction was getting a little bit heavy for me.
Yes.
and, and so I wanted that sort of impossible feeling, that lightness. And I'm getting ready to sort of tiptoe back into the adult fiction realm,
Okay.
but I still want that feeling in my book.
Right.
So definitely, I want that in my life. I want D in my
Yes,
life.
in my life. Exactly. I love that. Like I think of Aaron Stewart's books where it's just you finish the book and you're like, was the magic real? And it's like,
Yes.
does it matter? Did you feel like that joy of
Yeah.
just the something that could be impossible? And it's just so great. I love it. Okay,
Yes.
so can you tell us about that light, that magic of someday soon when it's been in your own life, when you felt something just in the air or something in your life that felt
I think,
magical?
when you mentioned Christmas, I think it's holidays, when the
Yes,
family is around, when there are those moments where you're just looking around and you're just having fun and everyone is joyful, and we're not thinking about tomorrow or yesterday. We're thinking about cookies, or we're thinking about, whatever, we're playing a game or something like that. It also comes every time I start a new book, which I'm actually
right?
doing right now. And I tend to start, I don't have it here with me, but I tend to start a notebook that looks like this for every book. And
Nice.
I do like a vision sort of board, and I
Nice.
and I start with art, and I start with images that I love, and it just gets me just feeling very creative and
Yes,
very alive. And so also just meeting with certain friends. I have certain friends who do that. Like, when you get together, it's just like an explosion, like you're talking, and
right?
it's like you haven't been away from them for, just but a second, even though
Yes.
maybe you haven't seen them for a month.
Hmm.
So it's those moments in life, yeah, that just give me that magic. Yeah,
Love it.
exactly.
I love it. And it just feels so joyful, right?
Yeah.
Love that. Okay, so art is a really big theme in The Magic of Someday Soon. Her Zoe's dad was an artist, and then of course these fossil gardens are just this these big art projects that people go and look at,
Mhm.
right? The way that they're created. So her dad is quoted as saying, "Art shines a light on what's deep in our hearts." Can you respond to that quote?
Yeah, my dad was an artist too. And so I have several paintings in our house that he did. And so for me, it's always that touchstone. It sort of makes me reflect and think about him or think about memories. Or also, like I said, for me, it's in my own artistic practices, and I'm not really, I don't paint or I don't do, but I have that desire to make things.
Yes.
And so it really brings out a different side, a playful side
Right?
of me. And so
Well,
I
and
think about
writing is
that.
art. Like you have used your
Yes.
artistic side to write.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. And I like making things like crafting and cooking. And so I think that's kind of where it came from. And then and in visualizing Zoe's mom and these massive uh construction exhibits that she
Yes.
does, I can just imagine, wow, if you had that big of a space, what would you fill it with? Or how would it move? Or how would it, how would people under it like be able to experience that? And I love going into museums where it's very physical. So things might be, you might have to walk through things, or you might have to look up, or you might have to lay
Right.
down, or things might be projected on the wall because it makes you see the world in a different way, and it makes you come out like kind of feeling different, like, wow, I want to think about the world more. I want to maybe put my own art out into the world. So that's where I think where all of that came from. But also, yeah, growing up in a household where there was, big easels and paint, and my dad kind of getting inspired sparked that probably.
Oh, I love it. And I love also, okay, another quote, art can bring something once lost back to found. So I love this because grief is very big in both of these books, between The Lighthouse and You and The Magic of Someday Soon. So has this been true in your life, that art brought back something lost and now it's found again?
I think so. I think every time I write a story, I'm always amazed at sort of some of the things that are reflecting my feelings at the time, or maybe I'm always surprised at how um, I'm connecting to the book, because usually I'm like, oh, I'm just developing these characters and they have
Right?
these, conflicts, and this is a different world. And then all of a sudden I write something, I'm like, oh, that's how I was feeling today. But strangely enough, it's going along with the plot. Like, it's
I,
very weird how some things, some characters, or maybe I'm writing like D. Oh, I didn't realize I needed D in my life for, the 2 years that I was, writing and editing and all of that. And then of course the first book came out, strangely enough, I had been thinking of my dad who had passed away when I was writing that book. But then, strangely enough, right before the book launched, my mom passed away. So it was very strange and lovely in some ways, because I have this book and it's very much tied into them. And then, of course, the second book, I felt like, again, in this world, I needed a hug around me. I needed to go to a small town and make friends with someone. And so, again, I felt like I needed that feeling and I needed those people. And I have a book with my agent right now. And I find that like certain things came out in the book that I'm like, oh, I think that was me when I was 12.
nice.
Like, oh,
Yes.
strangely. And so I do think art makes me reflect, and brings little pieces of me back.
Nice.
Again, playing, I have a hard time playing because I have a weird, like, I think half my brain is very logical, and I can be very
Right.
orderly. And so my creative brain is always kind of like struggling against that because you want to be free. And so I think art in its various forms, whether it's words or collaging or crafting, I think it allows me to bring back my little self, the self that could just color with crayons and
Right?
do nothing for an hour, you know? Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love going back to childhood, right? Like my
Yeah.
6-year-old helps me so much in life when I
Oh my
just like
gosh.
the
I loved when my
joys.
daughter was 6.
Yes. And then sometimes her logic amazes me. Like she was trying to talk me into something once and she was like, "Did you ever do this when you were a kid?" And it went fine, right? So why can't I? Like it's
Oh,
so funny like sometimes that she's just so magical and just all about the fairies and the things and then sometimes I'm like
oh.
it's so simple too. Like the logic in your life is I'm just like, "Yes, that does make sense, darling."
100%. I mean, I wish, when I remember my daughter going out and she's going out to the playground with a tiara and a full
Yes.
on, princess costume. Whatever. I mean,
Yes.
that's or she wanted to go to school, dress a certain way or with and you're just like, yeah. Yeah, we all should do that. We all
Yes.
should go to work with a tiara,
Yes.
and not care. And so it does sometimes allow you to think, I can do this. Like there are no rules. I can kind of do this.
Yes.
And we get caught up in the adulthood of it all and we forget. So yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Yes. So I teach preschool part-time because I
Oh,
needed like something
wow.
that makes a real income. And I only wanted to work part-time. That was the only way that I could be a teacher and be part-time. There's a preschool position open. So I do this and I have these dresses that are just ridiculous, but they're perfect for preschool. Like one's just a rainbow dinosaurs all over. And my sister was talking to me last night and she's like, "Do you ever have to go run errands afterwards though? And then go out in public wearing rainbow dinosaurs?" And I was like, "I do." And sometimes I get funny comments. Like I was going through a car wash once and they're like, yeah, sorry, we're not doing it for people with rainbow dinosaurs today." They just,
Oh,
it just
I
throws people off.
love
And
it.
so people will joke with me and stuff. And I'm like, and it's just, just be comfortable. If anybody can be comfortable walking around in rainbow dinosaurs, I can.
I love it. No,
Oh,
I totally like I have a
right.
couple pairs of wild, crazy overalls, and I'm like, I am wearing those today. Like
Yes.
I am just gonna wear them and own
And don't care,
it.
right? Just like your daughter wearing a tiara, that it's just like, it's fine.
Yes.
This is
Yeah.
great.
Mhm.
Love it. Okay, so tea is important in the magic of someday soon.
Mhm.
So, do you have a relationship with tea in your life?
I am a coffee and a tea drinker, and I
Okay.
love tea, but I'm always looking for that elusive, like perfect flavor tea. Like I'll buy a box and I'll try a few, and I'm like, nope. I'll buy a box and I'll
Yeah.
try a few because it'll sound so great, like the
You need to make
description
your own
of
tea
that.
like D.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I wish that I lived somewhere. There used to be a grocery store when I lived in Austin, Texas, where they had loose tea and you could,
Nice,
buy it in bulk and mix it all up. And we don't really have a place here like
right?
that so much. So, yes, I wish I could do that. And so, yes, I'm gonna have to buy a whole bunch of things and just like rip open the bags and like make my own.
Yes.
Because I like certain flavors, but I'm like, oh, a little of that and a little of that. So, yes, I think you've just inspired me. I think I'll have to do that.
Okay.
Like,
Yes.
I'll have to do that this fall when things get a little cooler around here. Yes, I'm gonna have to rip open tea bags and just like do my own experimentation. But that was my fantasy when I thought about that about tea that like changed all their moods and all their names, and I was like, I want tea like that.
Yes.
Yeah,
One of my
yes.
very, very, very first author interviews was it was a connection of somebody that I knew in my community that her daughter wrote. She also wrote, for adults, but she wrote this book for kids about tea, and it was like recipes for tea of making your own tea. And I was just so thrown off that I was like, where do you even find these ingredients? And she seemed surprised by me that I was like, where do you even find this? And she was like, they're out there, you just buy these things and you make your own tea. And I was like, wow, like that is neat that that is in your life. And she's like, yeah, and my kids, I discovered they like to be a part of it too. So I wanted to make a book for kids making their own tea. So yes,
Yeah,
just brace the
just do
tea.
it. I
I
know, and I'll have to do that and maybe go online and like just find some different like
yes.
uh yeah, and I follow an account on Instagram too where the gal just she's always showing these gorgeous
Yes.
teacups and just talking about this tea that she's drinking of the day. And I'm gonna have to go back through her posts and like
Yeah.
start writing names of things down because It's just I covet it. I just don't want to buy a whole box yet
Right.
because then you don't
Yes. Yes.
know.
Yes. I know. There's danger in that. But
It
yeah,
is.
I remember telling my friend once because she'll make herself some tea and then she drinks it while she's getting everything ready in the morning for her family. And I was like, you are missing one of the most important parts of tea time. You've got to sit
Oh,
down and just
yes.
relax. Like that's one of the best benefits of tea is sitting down and just having a moment to relax and enjoy it. Like that's the magical
Yes.
part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why. And also another reason I haven't had tea this summer because really
Yes.
I haven't really sat at my desk. And usually it's a winter fall because I'm at my desk for a longer time and
Mhm.
I'm able to kind of take nice warm sips. And yeah, it's a more reflective thing.
Yes, and it is, yeah, like drinking tea when it's 100 degrees outside, that is
Yeah.
feels a little contrary. All right, so let's see, page 120. I have a quote that I'd love to go to
Ooh.
now. It says, "The world tells us its secrets if we decide to see and hear them." So can you tell us about something like that where it feels true for you or, going in a different direction? Tell us why you wrote that, why you love that. The world tells us its secrets if we decide to see and hear them.
Yeah, I think on a natural level, I'm looking outside right now out the
Hmm.
window. I think on a natural level, I was thinking about that first because I tend to move through life very um, well. I'm in my house all the time,
Hmm.
so I'm in my house all the time, or like running errands in the house, out of the house, but never really like out in nature. And so I thought of that first about nature, about really like, especially during COVID, we were outside a lot more and I was sitting in the grass and I was kind of listening to the wind and I was feeling the sun. And we also live near the beach. And so we were going to the beach almost every day.
Hmm.
And we rarely do that now, even though we're only 15 minutes away.
Right.
But I was thinking when you do slow down, you see colors, you hear different kinds of sounds, you feel different kinds of moods, you feel different way about the earth, about our planet. And so on that kind of level, that's where I went in one sense of it. And in another sense, it was also about people and about how we're rushing around so much, but also hearing so many voices. We hear
Right.
voices from the internet. We hear, even if we don't have the sound on, it's still noise coming through all the time. And so I was thinking about just slowing down. If we slow down just a little bit, we might see each other a little bit better. We might understand each other a little bit better. We might make friends. Um, that last, or we might want to hang out and not look at our phones. We might want to go back to the old days and have coffee.
Yeah.
And so all of those things, and especially in the context of Zoe, who's moving through the world so fast,
Right.
she feels like, and not getting the chance to really know people,
Right.
that's sort of all of those things were wrapped up in that.
I love that to slow down. And that, like just said about tea, like you've got to stop, you've got to slow down, you've got to,
Yeah,
to be able to see the secrets, to see the magic of someday soon, to
yeah,
experience those moments. You've got to slow down to be able to appreciate them. And so, yeah,
yeah.
and that can be so important for kids too, to like, for one, see adults do that, and then to learn how to do that themselves, to live in a moment and to take a moment and be calm. Like that, it's a hard thing to do, but a great thing to
It is a
learn.
super hard thing to do. And I think again in our life where we're rushing from one thing to another, when we have to a lot of the time,
Right.
it is hard to kind of say, well, can we get rid of anything? Can we take this moment? Can we do this? And so it's sometimes hard for us to slow down in this crazy world. And yeah, it's really important to kind of, if we can.
Right.
And that's why also in book clubs, like I've had a lot of adults interested in this book for their own book clubs. And I think it's because of those messages. But I also encourage them too to like, let's have an adult and kids book club like all together because
Yes.
I'd be
Oh, I
interested to
love it.
see how the kids and the adults together, if they would connect on those same
Yes. How do
points.
they interpret it differently, or
Yeah,
do they have these same
yeah.
experiences? Yeah. And when they have a moment, when I do go on a hike, like what are my kids thinking and feeling? I need to
Gosh, yeah.
stop and talk to them. So I travel with my kids because I'm very blessed that my husband and his work that it pays for my family to travel. And I just hearing you say that to, stop and for a moment because we're going. I take them on study abroad
Yes.
and with 25 college students and us in Europe for 6 weeks. And every week, and we try to do it every night the day before or at breakfast. This is what's going to happen so they don't feel overwhelmed. Here's what's to
Yes.
expect. Here's when during the day that we're going to give to you that it's alone. But I don't stop and say, okay, when you were doing that or in the moment, how are you feeling?
Mhm.
What do you think of this? Because we're walking by just amazingly old things. So my daughter's so in awe that our country's 250 years old. That is so old, she says. And I was like, Adelaide, remember last year when we were in Europe, there were churches that were older than our country, And so to really pause and like think about these things and think about what it means but yeah, to talk about isn't that cool that it's 250 years? What does that mean? And yeah,
Yeah.
I
We
love
just
that.
took my daughter to France this past summer, and I was really conscious of like pausing and saying, we're standing at this place. Like, what do you think? You just learned about it in, AP World History.
Yes.
What is that like? Like now you see the exact point where this happened that you guys talked about. And so it's really important to just do it when you can and to kind of check in because your kids may be thinking the same thing or not, or something even that might blow your mind, like, I
Yes.
don't
Yes. Like
know.
what are they thinking? Well, and then so these are both small towns. We're talking about traveling and not
Mhm.
everybody can travel
Oh yeah.
far away, but this is about like simple things in a small town in the everyday and how does it
Yeah.
feel that, about your nemesis? Like really
Yeah.
talk to our kids about this. Talk to them about their relationships or when you go out and you're going to the beach, like take a second and just slow down with them. And around here we have the mountains and we can go on hikes or when you go outside and go through the city,
Mhm.
whatever your environment is, like take a second to
Mhm.
slow down and talk to them about how their setting makes them feel.
Yeah, and that's, small towns, these are fictional small towns, but I also live in a very, very small town. And so
Mhm.
it's thinking about even in your small town, you might think, oh, what is in my town? But really you can find really interesting things. And especially with little kids just notice the wildest things. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
pretty
have those
fun.
conversations again, like with the middle
Mhm.
grade ages. And like I think of that book, Nana in the City, like anywhere, like
Mhm.
those things that
Mhm.
what makes it what it
Yeah.
is, and then start having conversation about it. I love it.
Yes.
Michelle, I feel like I'd be remiss if we did not take time because I feel like a big theme going on in both of your books is about loss and grief.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so if we did not touch on these, I would feel sad. So what sent you writing this direction that these magical things and the magic is a bit heavier in between the lighthouse and you, not in the
Mhm.
fantastical sense. It still feels light, like it to the people in the small town, it's just very ordinary, but
Mhm.
it's like blows somebody's mind who's not part of the small town, right?
Yeah.
So, but at the core of both of these things are kids yearning to have connection to those who they've lost, who they don't know. So tell
Mhm.
us why and how these themes of loss developed your stories.
Yeah, it's funny because I think of these questions as therapy because it's like deep questions. Because initially, I would say the idea came really superficially.
Okay.
I'm walking along the beach and I'm imagining, you see things on the beach and I'm imagining, well, what if I saw, a bottle wash up as they could do. But then I thought, well, what if there was a letter in there and the letter was from your great grandfather?
Right.
What to you?
Yes.
How would you react to that? What would you think about that? And what if you were already, of course, what if this had happened before? What if this
Right.
happens so that sort of was a superficial spark of an idea that I had. And
Hmm.
then I just kind of rolled. In terms of the larger, like, lost themes, I think I'm always, I didn't grow up with either set of grandparents. They were
Right.
already gone when I was little. And I always felt that sort of sense of of wanting to know them and maybe having that absence in my life because everyone else, had cool grandparents and all
Right.
this stuff. And I had grandparents in my life for a short time, but
Hmm.
again, they were gone when I was a child. And so I've always felt that sort of maybe an emptiness, a loss of a certain kind of
Right.
wanting that. And so that's led me down that road. And also I just feel like, everyone experiences loss, and it may not be a deep, heavy loss like within your family. It might be even just a personal thing that you lose. It could be a figurative thing that you lose, but that feeling of like emptiness or something missing or just um, sorrow or confusion.
Yeah.
And also the layers of loss and grief are so different for everyone. Some people could celebrate that life and be, sort of positive in ways. Some people can be just devastated.
Right.
And so it fascinates me again the ways in which people, and all of it is right because we all have different processes we go through and different feelings about it. And I think all of that probably went into that book, and all of those things sort of still kind of work in the back of my mind,
Yeah.
like having, because it's also such a deep, wow, it's just a deep wound, whatever that loss is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what led me there.
Yes. Oh, well, thank you. I love it because it's not really recent, but it's very real for both of them, right? And so
Mhm.
that they're both still sitting in it and feeling it. And so and it's through friendship and family relationships that they're able to keep working through it. And I love these beautiful themes in your book. I think you did such a beautiful job that there's,
Mhm.
neither of them are crazy long either for those who are watching. I'll hold up,
No.
sideways for the books. They just are very consumable. And actually, for those of you that are on Spotify or Audible, Between the Lighthouse on You is available on either of those. And so included with the membership. And so yeah, it's just very consumable. I love it. It's just in a light way that things are dealt with, that it's so enjoyable too. And so you did an amazing job, Michelle. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. So, can you tell us what's next then? You mentioned an adult book. Do you also have, you said there's a middle grade with the agent.
So
Is
I
it
have,
something you're able
yeah,
to
so I
talk
have a,
about at all?
yeah, I have a middle grade manuscript with my agent right now.
Nice.
I'll just say it involved. It's a verse novel right now, and I
Oh,
have a whole
really?
tale about that because I've written verse novels before. In fact,
Uh-huh.
both of those books behind you were verse novels that I had to transform
Oh,
into prose.
okay.
Um, so
Well,
this,
it did. It felt kind of the way that it feels lightly
yeah,
magical, just the way it flows, like with verse. I can see that how it used to be verse.
yeah,
I could feel that
yeah.
because of the beauty of the way it flows, almost lyrical.
Yeah, so like my third book, fingers crossed, this
Mhm.
stays a verse novel. But this first novel is also very light, and I can just tell you that there's a little bit of punk rock and a little bit of
Oh,
Golden
okay.
Girls and a little bit of
Fun.
magic and a little bit of an overachiever protagonist.
Okay.
And so that's in the world with my agent right now, and we're sort of got to get whipping it into shape. And
Yes.
then my next project is just kind of bubbling up. I'm conjuring right now. I'm
Nice.
I'm letting everything simmer and bubble. But right now, I think it's going to be a more of an adult fiction with the same, I guess, light magical style that
Nice.
I love.
Because adults
Yeah.
need that too. I love it.
Yes, they do definitely.
Yes. All right, Michelle, can you tell us a book that you have loved, a children's book, any age that has influenced you?
Yeah, when I first was kind of wading into middle grade, I read Circus Mirandus by Cassie Beasley, and I loved Circus Mirandus because it just took me on a ride. It
Right?
was not what I expected. It was very magical. It was very fantastical. It felt like it had a classic tone, which
Hmm.
I think is hard in these days. It had that classic throwback voice. And so it's kind of one of those books I always return to over and over again because I feel like I'm reading um, again, it's just one of those books that no matter how many times you read it, you see something new
Yes,
or you pick up
right.
on something new. And so,
Absolutely.
yes, that's one of the ones on my shelf behind me. So, yeah, it's very worn.
Lovely. Okay,
Yeah,
and once kids have read Between the Lighthouse and You and The Magic of Someday Soon, and they have just loved it, and they want something that they feel a similar feel, can you recommend another book for them to go to next?
I love Wish.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
yes, that's my touchstone book is Wish. And so I would tell them to go and read that next.
Yes. Oh, by Barbara O'Connor, right?
Yes, Barbara O'Connor.
Oh, excellent. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much, Michelle, for writing these beautiful words, for joining us today and talking to us about it.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so nice to meet you.
I hope that you enjoyed hearing from Michelle Lee about the magic of Someday Soon. Hey, if you like my podcast BookHuddle, I'd really appreciate it if you could take a second and rate and review BookHuddle on your podcast platform because that really helps more people to be able to find the podcast and help it to grow. I hope you have a fantastic week and read amazing books.